Hey, good day everybody, it's me, Even. I want to take a second. I got to show you a stock. Let me give you my elevator pitch. Tell me what you think. It's FAN, First Atlantic Nickel. And I think we're so close to having a game-changing moment. I just want to actually get it out there and show people where we're at with things. And we're waiting for one last piece of information to know if this is a game-changing moment. I think the deposit has a lot of potential anyways, but for my thesis to hold, there's one real critical piece of information. So you see here 2 and 3 and 4. These are all drill holes and they look like this, right? So there's 2, 3, and 4. This green shows the amount of nickel. The grades are very, very consistent, and that's important because it shows that, realistically the grades are probably going to be the same throughout the whole line. Now, that's just for this line right here. But what about this drill hole here? Now, we're waiting for the results on here. Now, we do know some things, so let me show you this. Now, you can see RPM. This is what this area is called, the RPM zone. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Don't pay attention to 1 because that was 6 kilometers north. But 2, 3, 4, and 5 all have 0.24, 0.25, 0.23 nickel. We know the nickel at the one that we're waiting for is 0.23. The grade's fine, but what we need to know is what's called the DTR results. The DTR tells you how much of the nickel you can actually extract. And here's the thing. On the DTR results on the other ones, 13 and 11 and 14, in my opinion, anything above 9 is game on. 0.6 or 0.06 is kind of like the cutoff grade. So it's marketable, it's feasible, but anything like what we're looking for is a starter pit, like a massive high grade pit, and then everything else can be 0.06 all at once, right? So we go back to here, we're looking. So my thesis says 0.09, and that gives me what's called a magnetic con grade of 1.1. Around there. It should be actually higher, but we'll see. So what we're trying to do, these results are out. We know they're game changers, and they really are game changers. This one here, if this is a game changer, then we can say this is probably 500 meters by 500 meters by 600 meters. Times that by 2.7 for the rock density gives you a really big number. Now you look at that around 0.23, 0.24% nickel, that's a lot of nickel. Now you could say, okay, I don't know a lot about nickel, but one thing I do know is that is really low grade, and you'd be correct, except for one really, really important thing. This is a nickel awaruite deposit, and it's very, very different. And what that means is nickel awaruite is a natural form of like stainless steel. It's nickel in the metallic form. Let me show you this image here. This is a drill core. You can literally see the nickel awaruite. So this is pure nickel, right? That's the real interesting thing about it. What does that mean? All you gotta do is put it through a magnet. And that's so important because if we go back to here and we look at this, these mass poles, this 9.5%, 9%, you put 100 pounds of dirt into the plant, you use a magnet and you're sucking out the nickel, and you're left with only 9% of the initial rock. So once you go to do a nickel concentrate of that, you don't have all that 100 pounds of nickel that we were just talking about. You only got 9 pounds. So that is critically important because there's 2 types of nickel deposits on the world being mined right now, nickel laterites and nickel sulfides. Laterites, you have to take all that dirt, you put it through, you mix it with sulfuric acid, high pressure, high temperature, and you leach it out. It's highly, highly not nice to the environment. That's why Indonesia has it, and they pump it all to China. 70% or something like that of all the nickel in the world is through China. They don't care, right? That's their environmental things, and that's what they do, right? So here, well, we also have another one called nickel sulfides, and that's more common around here. It's not as bad, but it's still bad. You got to send it to a smelter, right? There's sulfide. You got to burn the sulfur off of it, so you send it to a sulfur. Here, all you do, you dig it up, you put it through a magnet, you crush it, you put it through a magnet, and you're getting back, you look at these numbers, 1.3% nickel in this nickel concentrate. And then from there, you just float a concentrate, right? So a concentrate to a concentrate. But it's true, that's what you're doing. And then you have a 60% nickel con that you can send wherever you need to. And that, I just think, is a game changer if hole 5 DTR results hold well. Now what I've done is I've shown this other outline. This is where they're kind of drilling this year. I don't know that for sure. This is what I'm projecting they're doing. I mean, you can kind of guess because the fact that these all end in mineralization, they're definitely stepping out this way, right? So I think this is going to be very profitable area here, and here's looking very good. It's just up here, and it could very well go down, right? We just don't have any drill holes, so we don't know. But up here, man, I'm just like, if this one hits, then it's game on. And I really think that, one, nickel, no one really cares about it right now, so no one's really heard about it. Two, nickel awaruite is, so there's only one, there's this deposit and another deposit in BC. In BC, they know what they have, and it could be a mine today, but it's not because of indigenous land claims and some of the issues that they're going through here. Whereas here in this one, First Atlantic, is in Newfoundland. So in Newfoundland, they don't have any of the indigenous issues, and here's the cool thing. Look at this. In Newfoundland, there's water right there, right? You've got hydropower right there. You've got roads, the infrastructure. People want to work. Like, you've got so many good things. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on this area, right? And go down again. You can see this is 15-kilometer difference between hydroelectric dam called Northfish and another one called Salmon Station right here. And there's actually another one here. There's power. There's so much, like, location, location, location. It is, there's such a good probability of everything just to work out perfectly here. Now this is a 30-kilometer trend, and I'm going to scroll down here. Back in the 70s, they drilled up here, right? Because the roads kind of work up this way, so this is where they got in. They actually built the road this year, I think probably off this hydroelectric dam. I think this is actually new, and they built it in this way. Anyways, but back in the 70s, they found the nickel awaruite, but there's no nickel awaruite mines in the world, right? Because they're really hard to find. And then the grade was, you know, after the DTR values were 0.06, which they're economical, right? So that was the thing. Like, they had decent values, but they weren't high grade, like nothing to really, you know. So if this whole trend, and to be honest with you, this whole trend probably is just economical, but it's massive, and it's a massive economical site. But what you want a few pockets of high grade, and you got to find those high grade spots. And that's what I think we found down here with this RPM. And that gives you the initial open pit mine to build all the infrastructure. We're talking 20, 30 year mine life. Like, this has got such potential to be the real deal if, right? If, let me just go back to that image here. The DTR results show good here. Now, if they are economical, that's fine. We just got to find out where the grades are really good, like where this high grade pit is. It could be down here. It could be an oval. It could come way out like this, right? Like, it's looking like they're going to be really good here and really good here. And I'm just like, man, if we can just hit on this one, it's going to be game on. Now, I really like First Atlantic Nickel. They've got 20 million warrants that they still have to chew through. I think they're down to 17 million. I'd have to check the latest things, and they're at 20 cents. So that's what, in my opinion, kind of holds the stock back a bit. Once they get through, I think we had 24 million, so we've chewed through a good chunk of them. But I think, like, you know, the rest of them, not all of them, but maybe 10 million are in solid hands, and the rest of them, who knows? You know, if I had them, I'd exercise a few, de-risk, right? And then free ride. So that's my one biggest concern. Now, here's the thing. Somebody in March or February gave them $3 million on a debenture. And they just said, go, here's money, go drill, $3 million, do what you got to do, right? And if you look at the terms, I've never seen a company do a convertible debenture. Sorry, it's not even a convertible debenture, just a debenture, I guess. But yeah, I've never seen one like that. In the juniors, it's insane. We found out this week it was Agnico mine, like, shocking. It was a big company, right? And it just adds to the pedigree of what they're doing, like in the belief. And the person, the main, not the main geologist, but this geologist, Ron Britton, he developed the FPX Baptiste project in BC, the other Awayu mine. He's now over here giving guidance and looking and showing where we should be drilling, because he is the expert. So they've got the experts, they've got good money coming in from big companies, like people that really have, you know, they know what they're doing, right? I just think that this is going to be a home run, or has a really high potential of being a home run. I think you got to look at it. I think that this is just You just got to look at it, right? That's me. I'm Evenprime. You know me from co.ca. You know me that we've gone through all this before, like in the stock picking contest. I watched all the people pick all the busy stocks. This would be a stock that's going to fly, and then it's going to get popular, and then everyone's going to pick it in the contest, and then it's going to go down because it's going to follow that. Do I even have a picture? Follow the Lasonda curve? No, I don't have it. But you know what I mean? Everyone gets excited, and then it comes back to reality, and then they build the mine. Well, we're right here, and I'm looking up here, right? And then after that, this is stock picking contest stuff. Let those people, let those people take the higher risk or whatever. I am invested in this because I actually think number 5 is going to work out when I look at the numbers, everything, my lack of a geology background, but shows I think it's going to be good. But I really have, I've got extra money that I want to park and I'm ready to deploy when my thesis gets confirmed, and that's the thesis. And like I said, even if it doesn't reach, as long as it's slightly economical or something like that, like if it's like very poor DTR results, then I'd probably be like, that makes it really difficult, right? But if it is decent, then I'm very happy. If it's excellent, oh my God, then it's game on. I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Bye. Oh, and one more thing. I am not compensated by anyone. I've never actually even reached out to management. I know nothing. I haven't talked to anyone. I am just an investor. And don't rely on me for anything. Talk to your portfolio manager. These are high-risk juniors, right? Even though I spent a lot of years in running a stock picking contest and getting, running or working as a moderator for co.ca, you learn a lot of different things, but you also learn that, man, it's really easy to get destroyed. So, the whole point of the game is to keep yourself alive and keep yourself in the game. And that, that means you got to work with your risk appetite, understand what kind of investor you are, et cetera, et cetera. Personally, myself, I've got a background, I've got an astrophysics background, so I like numbers and blah, blah, blah. I work in cybersecurity, so I have a good understanding of risk. With the way I like to find things, I overcompensate or over research things, but that's my way of being I really know what I feel comfortable about. That way when I lose money, I can say, well, I left no rock unturned. You got to be really careful and understand who you are and how you invest, right? And like I said, I just want everyone to know I own shares. I'm very happy as a shareholder. I'm not getting paid by anyone, and that's it. Anyways, that's it. All right, Evenprime out.